Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm here to fight CPS with me and also hang on to your children. You found the right place if you got a CPS matter. We have Kendra Edwards. Hello, Kendra Edwards. Welcome. I will get to you in just a moment. This podcast, you found me on Facebook. Fight CPS with Bob Pace. I'm broadcast on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And it's supposed to be a room where you feel very comfortable and can ask any question you want about CPS. I'm here to help you. I'm on here 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm on here typically at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour, and the evening at 7 o'clock Pacific Time for 1 hour. And that's every day. But the upcoming schedule is modified the next couple days. Today, I'll be on at 4 o'clock. I have a family outing with my young son to do something for Halloween, so I need to go a couple hours earlier. So I'll not be on at 7, but I'll be on at 4 p.m. this afternoon. And on Friday night, Lights is taking place. That's high school football. My young son, has an activity there, so I'm going to be coming on at 4 o'clock on Friday. 4 o'clock on Friday, so I can go to the game at 7:30. And then on Saturday, Vince Davis has a special podcast, questions and answers that he can help you. And I want to move my show up to 8 o'clock in the morning so it gives a chance for people to attend his podcast. And then on Sunday, I come on at 8 o'clock also because I have a church activity to go to. So these next couple days are modified somewhat, but hopefully you'll be able to find me. But I'm glad you did. You're at one of the ways you interact with this podcast. Now, I call CPS the Child Protection System. It's a branch of social services. It's a government program that's mandated that the social workers in the child protection system will protect our children from neglect and abuse. Also, they're supposed to help out families in need with food, shelter, clothing, transportation, educational, medical, and even getting a job. That's one of their functions they're supposed to do. And thirdly, if they need to break your family apart and they need to deal with some matters that you may have, they need to do what's called family reunification to bring the family back together. Because the best parents, has been proven, are the biological parents. So at all costs, they're supposed to bring the family back together. Unfortunately, the CPS that I know and the CPS experienced by over 500 people I've talked to has not been the case. I think we'll run into a rogue part of CPS. I'm not saying all CPS is corrupt. I'm not saying all CPS is bad. But my experience in Orange County, California was really bad. I lost my daughter at 12 years of age because of them. I lost my home. I lost my credit. And I further have lost my ability to get a job because of this happening with CPS. Um, it's terrible. I've been there. I'm a family man. I'm not a lawyer, but I've learned a lot fighting CPS for 15 years. Um, I have 6 children, 3 grown children, and 3 young children. My 3 young children were stolen, trafficking, and alienated, which is all illegal by the child protection system. And I can tell you more about that. But it is awful. It is, I don't know how else to describe it. I tell, I don't know why I keep flipping off. My mouse is real sensitive. Or I should say my finger must be. Sorry, didn't mean to do that there. Um, the Child Protection Agency is very corrupt, and their only interest is making money off you. It's a $1 trillion business, not billion, not million, but trillions of dollars. It's taken from the federal government to the state to the counties with no accountability of the money. There's no board of supervisors or board of directors or trustees. There's no one that watches this agency. There is supposed to be a director in each county, but I found that my director was very corrupt and would not listen. And all his managers stuff were bad. It was a bad scene. And so you're up against a big battle fighting them. I'm telling you that. Now, this child protection system in every state will have different acronyms, but I mean all of them. Like in Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services. In California, it's Child Protection Services. In Kentucky, it's the Cabinet, etc. And hi, Paulette. I see you're here. She's from South Carolina. I don't know where Kendra is from, but if you could tell me your city and state, Kendra, it'd be appreciated. I bet my case. I'm so happy now. I have to take a flight to Baltimore from Houston. Okay, so you're from Houston, Texas. Do you know any places that help with flights so I can see my babies in Baltimore? I have 90 days to approve my actions. I'm not here for booking flights. I have no idea. I mean, personally, off the side, I do, but we're here to talk about a child protection system and anything related to that. But I welcome you, Kinder, and I will try to help you. You're happy because now you have to take a flight to Baltimore. What's in Baltimore? Is your case in Houston? You don't know any places that help with flights. Well, I know you can go Google a flight from Houston to Baltimore, and they'll tell you the flight availability, and you can do it right there. Paulette says, everyone else is watching. Okay. I hope my day is a good one. Helping you guys gives me pleasure because maybe there's something that I say or something I show you or something that will help you in your case. In your case, I hope there is. Okay, so your kids are in Baltimore where their grandma took them. Okay, so your grandmother took your kids. Now, are you the biological father or the biological mother? I mean, Kendra, I think, is a boy's name, a woman's name too. I'm not too sure. Kender. I think it might be a boy's name. But I'll help you in just a moment here. I want to tell you there are 4 ways to interact with this podcast. One way right now is being in this room. And being in this room is really very good. All you have to do is listen. And you can use emojis. They're like thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces. Also, you can show stars by sending me stars. Please check below to subscribe to my podcast and write some reviews. That's good. And then also check it if you want to be alerted when I'm live, because I'm on twice a day. That's 14 times a week. Now, if you want to do something more, Paulette and Kendra are doing that by texting messages. Now, you can text a message, either a comment or a question about your CPS case. All I ask you is to state your name, and so it has to be a first name, your city or your county that your case was in, the state, and if you're from outside the United States, which I have about 15 countries now, I do like not only your first name, but your city, state, province, and your country. And the countries that I've come across so far are Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, Saudi Arabia, Liberia, and the continent of Africa at Liberia. Liberia is actually in Africa. I wanted to say Saudi Arabia and Libya and Saudi Arabia. And then Africa, we go down to Rwanda, then to Mozambique. Rwanda is in Central East Africa near Lake Victoria. And Mozambique is opposite Madagascar on the east coast of Africa. Then I've had the west coast province of South Africa. And then we go up to Europe. I've had England, Scotland, Wales, which is part of the United Kingdom. And then I've had Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond, I have North America, and I've had several countries in Canada, British Columbia, Vancouver, Alberta, and Edmonton, and so forth, different places in Canada, both east and west coast. Then I've had all 50 states have contacted me either with phone call in as a guest or on my phone, or they also text me in. So I've had at least 500 some people. And I've also had Washington, D.C. included in with the 50 states. Then I've had Mexico, and then Grenada down in South America, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, on the east coast of South America. Then across the South Pacific to the land down under, I've had Australia. I've had the East Coast, which is the Gold Coast at Sydney, and then the South Coast at Melbourne in the state of Victoria. So I do have good representation around the world, and everybody's important about that. Now, okay, so you're the mother. Does the grandma have custody of them? My husband's family is taking care of them for CPS because grandma took them out of my house lying to me. Oh boy. Does CPS help with flights? I call it CPS. I know DDS, Department of something. That's what they call in your place where you're at. So I don't know if they'll help you with flights. That's a lot of money. If you're looking for financial assistance, they don't help there. They cover the basic essentials that they have for you, the basic essentials. And yeah, I know you mean CPS. I understand. But I don't think financially they're going to help you with an airfare from Houston to Baltimore. And because your grandmother taken her, you could file to the police department unless she has guardianship of those children and say your children are illegally taken by this woman in Baltimore. You can file a missing person report, and you can actually have the police help track your kids down. Now, the CPS that you're talking about, I imagine, is in Houston. And if you have a CPS involved, you must have a case that's open. And if the grandmother has custody, guardianship, temporary guardianship, or custody of the children, then she can take them, but they should make it affordable so you can visit your children. That's wrong what she does. That's really wrong. Now, I was talking to you about one of the ways you interact, and the second way is to make comments, either messages or questions. Please also, when you send the information, tell me about your case so I know what you are, like your family makeup or your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, lovers, or partnership. Also, are both parents involved? Are you a single parent? Are there different biological parents with the children? And how are the children taken out of your home? Like to know that, and what the neglect and the um, uh, abuse. There was more details on the charges of neglect or abuse, and then where you at in your case. So if you could tell me there. So that's the second way. A third way is that you may want to be a guest on my podcast, and I'd love to have you be a guest on my podcast. You're going to contact my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works hard behind the scenes. I want to thank her very, very much for what she does to help make this room run efficiently. And to be a guest on my podcast, you just send her an email. Her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she can help you get onto the podcast. She'll send you a link to StreamYard. StreamYard is the application I use. I broadcast on YouTube. And she'll help you get on the podcast. And then further, she'll tell you what you can do and not do, such as no eating or smoking on the podcast. And she'll help you set up your lighting, your sound, and so forth. Try use a computer. It's better than the phone, but the phone's acceptable. Now, being on my podcast, you just tell them what date, it's like Sunday or Wednesday or Monday or Tuesday, evening or morning is all you have to say in your email to her. And if you happen to get knocked off, hang on to that link because you get back on for the life of the show. So don't worry, that link will get you back on. And so I think it's really important that that you come on the show, because there you can share your story or help other people. Also, I'm giving at this time a 15-minute session with Mr. Davis, a Zoom private 15-minute session with one of the top attorneys in the country. He's, as you heard in his little spiel about his upcoming Saturday show, he has been doing this for 35 years, fighting CPS and getting children back. He's also a trial attorney. He can also do civil lawsuits, and he's filed them in both state and federal and won millions of dollars. So after your case is over, he can do a civil lawsuit. He's not afraid to go against them. He knows how corrupt they are and how bad they are. And right now, he's out of Arcadia. That's where his law offices are. But he has cases in LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino County, Northern California, and right now he's working in Oklahoma. And he'll work in other states because he can go any state there. So if you want right away to schedule or retain him, all you have to do is that number on my screen, 888-888-6582, is that you could go ahead and call the office. That's my office number. That's his law office number. That's to the office. Tell him that Bob Pace sent you. When you do talk to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. But if you want to talk to him free for 15 minutes, you could come on by being a guest. Now, the last way you can interact with the podcast is you can call in to my number at 626-698-0990. Now, someone called just a few minutes before the hour. I only take calls during my showtime hours. I cannot talk before or after the show. So whoever called, I think it was area code 760 was the area code. Let me go see it again here. Okay. It was 760. And whoever called in at 9:58, you can call in again now. I will take your call. Now, those are the 4 ways that you can interact with my podcast. My phone number is live 626-698-0990. That's the direct line to my phone. The other number on the screen is the office, 888-888-6582. Now, there's another way you can talk to Vincent Davis for 30 minutes. He has a discounted Zoom consultation for 30 minutes for $60. You go to the website, http://candly, CALENDLY.com/apps, APPTS, VWD/Bob Pace /Bob Pace. So I really strongly recommend you have time with them. You can go. By the way, if you call in, you also qualify for a free 15-minute private consultation with Mr. Davis. So there's 2 ways to get 15 minutes. One by being a guest of my podcast and one for calling in. Also, you can text that website, use your credit card, and book a 30-minute session with Mr. Davis, $50. And if you want to hire him right now, it's 888-888-6582. So there's lots of ways you can get help here in my podcast that will cost you very little money. I know it is really a hard thing that you're in because it does take money. CPS loves to prey on people that are financially broke, or maybe they take advantage of people that do not know about CPS. I fit both of those categories. In 2010, unfortunately, I lost my job after working 45 years through no fault of my own. And suddenly I was out there facing at the age of 60 looking for work. And I've been doing so since then. But for 5 years, CPS hounded me about saying that my wife and I were not taking care of our children. What we didn't know was our in-laws, the lay people. They had called in once a week to tell them, allege that we weren't feeding our children, weren't housing our children, weren't taking them to school, weren't giving them baths, weren't providing clothing, all kinds of stories. And week after week, year after year, this went on. And I fought them for 5 years. Unfortunately, they got, I guess, a little amped. They wanted to retaliate, so they got a hold of the police. The police hired a detective to follow me. And the next thing I know, the detective had me pulled over and forced me to go to my home. And then they were trying to find something wrong with my home. I mean, they had everybody show up. 5 firemen, 2 code enforcement, 2 uniformed policemen, and 3 social workers and the detective, all trying to search my home for something wrong. They did find something. They said because of my parents' belongings I had in the living room, they were going to charge me with neglect and endanger the children with neglect. And that's because I had boxes on boxes and furniture and furniture. None of it was precariously too high, no higher than the children. The children were 9, 12, and 15 at the time. The other children, the 3 older children, had moved out. And it was only one room, and my mom and dad had died, and I was trying to help sort their belongings. And they had, 55 years of belongings. They were married for a long time. And it was sad that they go that extreme to traffic your children, to alienate your children, to steal your children. All that is against the law, but they get away with it. And Orange County is bad. I know that from firsthand experience. Plus, once they open up a case, they generate $60,000 per child per month. I mean, that's $20,000 per child per month, a total of $60,000. If you had 100 family with 3 kids each, that's $6 million a month. You can see why fast he approaches $1 trillion business, because their whole goal is to make money and give out bonuses and incentives. The social workers that I experienced were corrupt. It was sad. I'm not saying all CPS is bad. I'm not saying all social workers are bad, but at least over 500 people have told me so. And I know, again, from firsthand experience. So I'm here to help you. And I hope you all will give me more information, Kendra. Um, I would like to help you. I cannot say that CPS will help with airfare. I need to know more about your case, Edwards. You're in Houston, Texas. You have a CPS case, and your uh, ex-husband, I don't know if you're divorced or you're just separated, mother has the children. And I don't know if she illegally took the children or was she appointed guardianship of the children. So I need to know more information. I can help you. Paulette, you were really interested and asked me a question, and you've been doing so for days. And I want to help you, Paulette. I want to help you with what you're doing there. And so I am really, I'm really want to help you there. Hold on one second. I apologize. I'm broadcasting from home. It's from Surf City, USA, about 3 blocks from the beach. And um, uh, I really want to share my experiences of how I fought CPS and how it worked for me. And so I'd like you all to ask me questions, to interact with this podcast by being sign up as a guest or phone calling in and so forth. So I welcome to all of you. I have my 5 laws that I come up with, my 5 rules, not laws, but rules that go by in CPS. I can talk about that. I can talk more about my case. I can talk to you about a type of social workers you're going to encounter. And I know most of you have already encountered those bad social workers. I know most of you had. So that part's sad too. So it's not a pleasant thing that you're in. It's not a pleasant thing you're in. Now, the kind of social workers you're going to experience that I've experienced, and most of them are really bad. I mean, you can tell right off the bat if they come to your home, and you're not supposed to let them in, by the way, but you do. You give them permission to come to your home, and they're fishing. They're looking for things that can hold against you because they may have heard a complaint, but they don't know how valid the complaint is. You see, there's 2 kinds of people that do um, call in about CPS complaints. They're your professionals, your doctors, your nurses, your policemen, your firemen, your school teachers, your principals, your caregivers, anybody that works with children by law are required to report abuse. They go through a training where they learn about child abuse and child neglect and how they call it in. So most of the time, they call in legitimate uh, neglect or abuse. It may be they're not sure about the bruises on your body and the child's body, but maybe they were in a sporting incident. So most of the time, they're reported there. Now, the other part of calling are the lay people. These are your family and friends and relatives and acquaintances, your neighbors, the person across the street. So this is so sad because a lot of the lay people abuse the system for retaliation or they get supposedly control over your children or something in there. So these lay people is what happened to me for 5 years. They're my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and a brother. Were constantly calling in. So they wanted our children. They didn't show up for a wedding. I've been married for 32 years and didn't show up for a wedding. So that was sad. Anyway, they've always wanted our children. And so my wife and I have three beautiful, and we love our children so much. And we're devastated when our daughter was told to emancipate and divorce her parents, her family, and everything. It was so bad. Oh, God, every time I talk about it, it still hurts. And you see, example of a social worker that we had didn't have a college degree, didn't have a license, and no accountability, didn't even have a mentor to learn from. She right away in her early 20s started doing this CPS. And you need to have a mentor. I feel that anybody's going to work in the child protection system has got to be a mentor for at least 5 years, a long time to see how they work. For them to go ahead and start right away, determined they don't even have a family themselves, it's sad. It really was sad. And the reason why we lost her daughter is not because her daughter didn't want us, is because a social worker retaliated against us parents because she was caught on the witness stand, or on the stand, not the witness stand, but on the stand, because she was testifying about the adoption of our daughter by these my wife's sister and her husband, and she committed perjury. Our attorney, Vincent Davis, who I did hire, asked her about, how were the parents with the home life? How'd they get along? Was there any domestic violence? And the social worker lied and said, oh, no, there's been no domestic violence. They're beautiful parents, blah, blah, blah. Well, Vincent brought out a folder with police reports he had of the parents having domestic violence, not only arguing and shouting, but also physical altercation. So you don't want that for your child to go in there. And the social worker lied because he asked her, the social worker, what about this report on such a date where this uh, wife and husband got in a fight and started hitting each other? So he had all these cases, probably 30 of them, and it made her embarrassed because she knew she committed perjury and she lied. And that is a civil rights lawsuit right there. That's a civil rights lawsuit. And she was so embarrassed she left the stand. And then she told us parents that you're never going to see your daughter again by what you did. And so what had happened is that she told our daughter, who's age 12, that you're going to divorce you from your parents. You're going to emancipate from your parents. You divorce your parents, your brothers, your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, your cousins, all the family members you're in divorce from. And that's what she did. She also was told to change her name, and she changed it completely. Got rid of a beautiful first, middle, and last name. And then lastly, she sealed her birth certificate and got rid of her birth certificate so she knows that we're not her parents. And she got a new Social Security card. And then she went off to adopt a foster care family, which was even more sad. So that social worker did a number on us, and that was wrong. That was totally wrong. And it hurts. It still does hurt. It's real facts there. But anyway, that's about my case. I'm pretty sure your case, Kendra or Paulette, are really bad too. So, social workers are not to be trusted. They will retaliate. I tell people dealing with social workers like being Allison in Wonderland. You're in the garden, you fell in that rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you 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 go from room to room. Like in Alice Wonderland, you met the Chester cat who told you to go to room, and you go room to room to room. So that was sad. Alice Wonderland's not a happy story. And that's what CPS is. They're very corrupt. They steal, they lie, they're not transparent, and they will traffic your children. They'll steal your children. So I just don't understand why they're like that, but they are. They are like that. Well, the room has now remained kind of quiet. There's nobody texting messages or calling into my phone. So if they want to talk, I'm trying to get in touch with my regulars that usually in my room. Daniel Watt is supposedly um, getting her son back this week, which is really a great story to hear with her. Um, her son was lost in the system, and when he turned 18, CPS still tried to keep him. And she's been fighting for guardianship of him because he's a special needs boy. And he's 19 now, so she's been fighting for years to have him come home. He wants to come home with his mother. He knows his mother will take care of him. Um, okay, I've also tried to reach out to Faye Manley, and Faye Manley is in Richmond, Kentucky, and she's had a very hard case, and she's got some more distressing news. Boy, that girl's gone through so much. As a child, she was in and out of foster care 5 times, and unfortunately, her mom had an alcohol problem, and she always loved her mom to her end. But this woman, Faye, was trafficking as a teenager, sex trafficking. She's been abused, molested, raped, even tortured, where she had to walk on rocks. And her feet are so hurting to this day. She has so much pains. But she grew up. She got her high school degree on her own. She got a college degree in nursing. And then she had 2 children. Unfortunately, because her background in CPS as a foster child, they wanted her child. She had 2 children, and she had to choose between her son, who had special needs, or her daughter. And she chose her son who had special needs. And it's kind of weird that she's fit enough to take care of that child, but not fit enough to take care of her daughter. So they took her daughter and put it into foster care. And she was very much against that. And she reopened the case recently and thought that the cabinet had changed and the ombudsperson had changed, but they did the same thing to her. The investigator case and said no new development. And so, meanwhile, she just wants to communicate with her daughter so her daughter knows that she's carried her as a child. It's not her fault. She's not with them. So, so, so that is Faye, and she's still struggling because right now she's in limbo because the new owner has now taken possession of her house, and she does not know whether she can continue living there or have to look elsewhere. And homes are hard to come by, and pricing's kind of hard to come by because you got the deposit that you have to worry about. So she has medical issues. She has fought so much to get her children to help other people. She's a kind woman, and I really enjoyed dealing with her. Now, we have a new person named John Elfer. CPS came and took my 2 kids. We fought. Okay, let's read what John has to say here. They took my 2 kids. We fought for almost 3 years in court. That's the typical time. We need a paid attorney. We also, yeah, you do need a paid attorney because your court appointed attorney will not help. We also had a social worker testify on our behalf, stating that she didn't understand why. Well, I'm glad the social worker was testifying on your behalf. Yes, you do need it. He further says we're in Southern California, and the foster lady took our 2 kids and adopted them and moved all the way to Florida. Well, here's the problem with foster care. Foster care is corrupt. And if you had a termination of your parental rights, you should have appealed that. You have 30 days to make that appeal. And foster care people are just bad because foster care do not go through the same thing as scrutiny as if you're going to adopt a child. If you do normal adoptions, you have to be vetted both state and federal. You need to find your background check. Also, there's a lot of training you have to go through and a lot more but just adopt a child. But in foster care system, these foster agencies run it like a meat market and have all these foster parents available with very little training, and all they want to do is take your child. They'll hurt your child because they may have their own biological kids that'll be bullied to your children, and that is wrong too. So, the foster care system is corrupt. And I'm sorry that, John. So John is from Southern California, and I don't know what county, John. What county are you in, John? Because I'm familiar with California quite a bit here. Kendra from Houston flying to Baltimore. What was your case about CPS open up in Houston? And I like to help you, Kendra. Paulette, I've been talking to you every day, but you don't ask me the questions I need to have. So I appreciate you dropping in and keep in touch. One of these days, you'll be a guest on my podcast. So we have Kendra from Houston, Texas. We have Paulette from South Carolina. And then we have Jim from Southern California. Okay, I have about, let me see here, 15 minutes left of my podcast, and I'd love to have someone call in. Now, yeah, there are many viable issues for things. John says the paid attorney didn't help. I didn't know you had a paid attorney. That surprises me. You have one of the best attorneys in your backyard. That's Vincent Davis. I guarantee he'll get your kids back. He will get your kids back. We appealed, went to Phoenix for the brief. I don't know why California, Orange County, wherever county you are, would go to Phoenix for the appeal. As the appellate attorney said, there was no viable issues on the appeal. Well, you can still appeal again and again. You do not want to stop. And if you got a paid attorney, was he a family, juvenile dependency law attorney? What kind of attorney was it? I cannot believe that you paid for an attorney that didn't work out. but there was so many viable issues for appeal. Well, you should have contacted Vincent W. Davis. You need what's called a family juvenile dependency lawyer. That's what you need. He's also a trial attorney. Vincent Davis is a trial attorney. He's done civil lawsuits against CPS both in state and federal court and won millions of dollars. Won millions of dollars. Now, you said LA County is where you're from. That's great. I know LA County quite well, and that's a very corrupt CPS there. And Vincent Davis would definitely help you out there. That's his backyard, LA County. Do I guarantee it? You can never guarantee anything in life. You can never guarantee anything in life. But I tell you, with somebody that has 35 years of experience in getting kids back and does lawsuits, civil lawsuits and federal, because most attorneys don't do that, um, that they will try their best to get your child back. They will try your best. And so I do not know Martin Kane or Richard Raymond. Those two attorneys, are they family juvenile dependency lawyers? Have they fought CPS in civil lawsuits? If the answer is yes to those questions, then I don't understand, because you need good. Oh, Vince, you've talked to Vince. All right. Vince knows both of these attorneys. Well, I have no idea why they would lose your appeal. I've never heard of them, and John, but I do think that if you hired Mr. Davis, that he give you a great chance. I mean, he's a pit bull. He does fight, and he got my two children back, and he fought the social worker who committed perjury on the stands. So I know that Vincent, I've used him, so I know that he is good. I know he's in the right kind of law. But I do not know Martin Kane. Let me see here. Now, I've not heard of that. Phoenix 8 is a brief you file on your own with no representation. I just know from the law that you're allowed representation in all legal matters. It's your constitutional and civil rights. Now, they represented the mom in dependency court. Now, you've not told me, are they dependency attorneys? Are they juvenile family dependency attorneys? Have they filed civil lawsuits against the agency? Those are key things. Vincent Davis is both of those. Oh, they're not appellate attorneys. Well, of course, you need to get a person that can do appellate. I know Vincent's former wife does appeals, and I think right now she's serving as a judge. So it's very important you get the right kinds of attorneys. But those other attorneys should have told you you need appellate attorneys. Well, if he's good, he knows when. Why did you not use him? Why did you not use him, John? Yeah, both parents, you have to follow the case plan. It's not easy, but all I know is I got my two boys back, and I'm sorry yours didn't turn out that way. Yeah, it sounds like it's real complex, and I only know a little bit of the iceberg. You've only told me the tip of the iceberg. I don't know what's underwater. I don't know the severity of the case or anything about that. And I'm sorry. I am so sorry that, it's gone to this. Uh, um, K-A-H-N, K-A-H-N, K-A-H-N. Okay. Okay. See what John is. They are dependency attorneys. They're civil rights attorneys also. Wow. I just can't believe that you got two attorneys and they didn't win your case. It's the first time. I mean, I know how corrupt CPS is in LA County. LA County is a bad county for CPS. The child protection system is awful in LA County. I have people there all the time that have gone up through a block wall there. Um, I'm glad you're sharing this with me, John, and I want to help you. Kendra Edwards, is there anything I can do for you from Houston, Texas? Also, Paulette from South Carolina. Is there anything I do for you also? We have about 15 minutes left we have about 7 minutes left of the podcast. So my phone number is up if everybody wants to call in, 626-698-0990. Now I'm going to go over my 5 rules that would help you with your CPS case. Rule number 1 is we've been talking about attorneys this morning. That's the most important rule that you have, is that you have a qualified attorney, someone who will fight, someone who's experienced with fighting CPS, and someone that will win for your case. Vincent Davis is that person. And I don't know why John did not use him, but he chose some other people. So that's okay. That's a good point that you brought up, John. But the whole purpose of CPS is to make money off you. They want to drag it on. They would love, if you have a 1-year-old infant, they love to drag it on for 17 years. so they can collect that $20,000 per child per month. In 17 years, that's a lot of money. So it's because of the money situation is why CPS drag it on. And they hope that you give up and get your child adopted, which is sad, Yeah, I'll look up Rachel Raymond there and see what that shows me. I'll see what it says here. Yep. Yep, she's an attorney out of South Pasadena, and looks like she's a good family law attorney there. And she also helps out the Law Center of California. Now, Rachel was a paralegal that turned a lawyer. And so and she had a husband that once was a entertainment lawyer. So I guess she was also in entertainment too, and they had her I guess there was a episode of Rachel in there. So I don't know. Okay, well, all I know is this is the first I've heard of them. I guess there's an entertainment show that they started off as her as a paralegal, and then she later became a law attorney. I don't know how long. All I know is Vincent has 35 years of fighting CPS, and he is good what he does. He is good what he does. Now, besides rule number 1, I have rule number 2, which is you want to organize your paperwork into a notebook and have subject tabs and start what's called an incident timeline log. You want to record every time you speak to someone regarding your CPS matter. You log in the date, the time, the location, and the people involved in the first line. The second line, you make a statement of what the incident was, and then the third line is the outcome. And you repeat that to keep track of all that. So it's important to keep your documents there. Number 3 is you never let people into your home. You never answer the door. Too many people have been killed answering the door. You never let social workers or police into your home. They have to have your permission, or they have to have extreme violence going on where they have to come into your home because your child's in danger. Or they can have a warrant. Otherwise, don't open the door. Don't answer the door. And if you see them outside, tell them you need to speak to your attorney and have your attorney present. In all legal proceedings, you must have an attorney. Yeah, Martin Kane, 39 years. That's a long time. Well, I'm sorry, John. It sounds like you spent all that money with two attorneys there, and it looks like they did nothing for your case. I don't know about your case. I don't know what the allegations were, all the details. But my time is up. I hate I have to end this podcast, but it's 11 o'clock, and I need to end the show. I want to thank you all for coming into my show. Hopefully you got something out. I'm on again at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And so thank you, John, from Southern California, from LA County, Southern California. And I want to thank also Kendra Edwards from Houston, Texas. Please try to keep fighting for your kids out there. Paulette from South Carolina, thank you also. God bless you all and good luck. And I'll see you today at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You're going to hear a little bit from Vincent Davis now.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.